Hello students and welcome to our flipped classroom. Today we're going to be talking about reported speech. Let's review a little bit about the difference between direct and reported speech. So direct speech means a direct quotation. In writing, you'll usually recognize it because it uses quotations. For example, "Where is my notebook?" she asked me. In reported speech, we're going to report what the speaker says. So we need two things. We need to use a reporting verb, for example, "she asked me," and then we need to use a noun clause to introduce what was actually said in the quotation. Notice in reported speech, we don't use any quotations though. In reported speech, sometimes the verb will change. For example, direct speech, it was is, now it becomes was. So present simple changes to past simple. Other times the verb won't change. Let's look at another example. Direct speech. "My teacher says you need to do your homework." Reported speech. "My teacher says that we need to do our homework." Notice here that the verb need stays the same verb tense. It doesn't change. Now, why is that? Why does the verb not change here, but it did change in the first example? Well, it has to do with the reporting verb. So here, "my teacher says is present simple. When a reporting verb is in present simple or present perfect, the verb will stay the same in direct speech and reported speech. It won't change verb tense. However, in the first example, the reporting verb asked is in past simple. So if your reporting verb is in past, the verb tense will shift from direct speech to reported speech. It will take one step backwards. So present simple will change to past simple. Past simple changes to past perfect, etc. There's one more exception. If the statement in direct speech is a general fact or truth, so not an opinion, something that no one can argue with, then the verb tense will also stay the same in reported speech. For example, "He said the world is round." The world is round is true. We all know that. That's a fact, right? So in reported speech, it will say, "He said that the world is round." It doesn't matter if this reporting verb is past, present, blue, or white. It doesn't matter, right? If it's a fact, the verb stays the same. So how do we change the verb in reported speech? After you've decided, okay, my reporting verb is in past, I need to change the verb, follow these guidelines to decide how to change the verb. If the direct speech verb is in simple present, reported speech verb will be simple past. If direct is in present progressive, we'll take one step backward to past progressive. If the direct quotation uses simple past, we can either have no change to the verb, so we could keep simple past in reported speech, or we could use past perfect. If it's present perfect, we'll go to past perfect, and past perfect, we can't go back any further, so it's going to stay the same. Try to memorize this little chart. It's going to help you tremendously in going from direct to reported speech. And remember that the reporting verb has to be in past in order to follow these rules. Here's a little bit of stop and practice, okay? So you can pause the video while you write down your answers. But down here I have two direct quotations. I'd like you to see if you can put them into reported speech, focusing on how the verb tense will shift, how the verb tense will take one step backward. So pause the video. I'm going to give the answers in just a moment. All right, we're back. So the answers are, Tina asked me how the test had been. Notice that past simple was takes one step backward to past perfect had been. If you also said how the test was, that's okay too, because simple past can also have no change. Number 2, we don't have a choice. My daughter hasn't chosen a Halloween costume yet. Hasn't chosen is present perfect. So we need to use past perfect in our answer. He said that his daughter hadn't chosen a Halloween costume yet. So if you're feeling good about these rules, that's great. We do, of course, have an exception. English always has exceptions, right? So in spoken English, if the speaker is reporting something immediately or soon after it was said, like it was said just a moment ago, then no change is typically made in the noun clause verb, okay? So for example, speaker A says, "What did the teacher just say? I didn't hear him." And maybe the teacher just said it just a moment ago, so it's immediate reporting. And speaker B says, "She said she wants us to read chapter 6. So notice the verb tense didn't shift to past simple. We just keep it in present simple. Okay. Here's another example as well. "I didn't go to class yesterday. Did Mrs. Jones give any assignments?" Yes, she said she wanted us to read chapter 6. Okay. So again, this was probably soon after, right? And so we're not going to change the verb tense. All right. So our last one to talk about is commands in reported speech. Okay. Commands are when we give sort of a mandate. We don't have a subject before the verb. So for example, leave, right? Come home right away. Open your textbooks to page 112. These are all examples of commands, right? In reported speech, we're going to change a command to and verb base. Okay, so we're not going to ever change the verb tense of a command. We're just going to add a to before it. Here's an example. She told me to leave. My mother said to come home right away. The teacher said to open our textbooks to page 112. So again, if you see a command, just put a to ahead of it if you want to make it into reported speech. All right, so here's a little bit of practice. If it feels like information overload, you can pause the video and go back and watch different parts of it, or you can look at your chart and read that if that helps you. But if you're feeling ready to practice a little bit, I've got some sentences here. They follow each of the rules that we've talked about. Try to convert them into reported speech. Again, you can pause the video. I'm going to show you the answers in just a moment. All right, so here are the answers, okay? Our first sentence said, Jordan said the cheetah is the fastest animal on land. Well, Jordan is very smart and she knows that this is a fact. And so here we didn't change the verb tense at all. Is stays the same, is. In number 2, the original sentence was, Teju asked Miriam, did you have a nice weekend? Here, did you have is past simple, so we're going to change to past perfect in the answer. Number 3, direct speech says, the last grammar quiz was easy. Once again, was is past simple, so in our answer here, we have had been, past perfect. Number 4, Marla asked Mansi, have you seen the new It movie? Have you seen is present perfect? So in our answer, we have past perfect in reported speech. Mansi said yes. Then she said it was scary. All right. So again, we have past simple, it was scary. The answer can be had been scary, or we could also say was scary. We could keep that in past simple as well as no change. And then the last one, Mrs. Pinedo told the class, do your homework. Do your homework is a command, and so we're going to use to plus do, right? Mrs. Pinedo told the class to do your homework, right? So I hope this gives you a little bit of practice. If you need more practice, that's very understandable. I have put some extra practice on D2L. One is a link to a website that has the answers for you. You can check your answers. And the other one is a file that you can look at or download or print, and it also has the answers on it. Don't forget that you also have homework to do that will be graded, so you might want to do this extra practice before you try the homework to make sure you're on the right track. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to email me, okay? Thanks for watching, and see you next week.